excited to be here. I know. I'm so excited we're doing this.
This is awesome.
Yes. So it's our first YouTube video in our series about building bridges in the community. Mm-hmm. And we thought that this would be an amazing opportunity to introduce the JCRC and the larger Jewish community to Kotarah, our new chair.
Yay, so exciting.
Yay. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's talk about a few things so people can get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
All right.
So, growing up in Cincinnati, Ohio, it was a lot of children.
Yeah.
And just my mom.
Uh-huh.
And the neighborhood. And we grew up in a pretty racist neighborhood. Then it started getting a little bit more welcoming. And we started seeing a little bit more people that looked like us.
Oh.
And my mom started paying a little bit more attention to everyone else and making sure that everyone was fine. We dealt with a lot of police brutality and a lot of extreme racism. If you wanted legal advice, if you needed help with school, if you needed help with just community resources, my mom was the go-to person.
So she was your role model.
Yeah.
She was the one out there making connections and really helping people.
Absolutely.
And so you saw this. This was your lived experience.
This was my lived experience.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even consider my mom my role model.
I think we take our parents for granted.
Right?
Until we're a certain age.
Then it's like, you were Superwoman.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
how did you do it?
Like, how did you feed everybody? How did you, because we used to steal food from our own house and give it to the neighborhood kids when they didn't have it.
Wow.
Yeah. So taking food from our own mouths and making sure someone else had it. My mom, it was like, well, don't steal. Just tell me and we can go and, go grocery shopping for them because we were on food stamps. And it's funny because anytime we all go back home, myself or my other siblings, they still in Cincinnati. But that particular neighborhood, we're always just like, this is where it all started for the most part in Northside.
So that tells me you were a social justice activist long before you even knew what social justice activism was. Tell me about your family t-shirts. So describe what they look like and then tell me about them.
So in the front, it says, know your roots. And it has the Star David here, right? And in the back, it has all of the biological children's year that they were born. And we did that because, I did it. I'm going to take all the credit. I did that because we grew up Jewish, right? Then there came a time to where it was like, okay, my mom converted to, I'm going to say Christianity. I can't remember which denomination. But my mom converted and it was, hey, everybody's on their own. You just got to believe in God in this house, right? Like you follow the 10 Commandments, you believe in God, and that's it. And then, so there is 10 to 15 year difference between me and the younger siblings. The two younger ones were like, no, we ain't into religion. We ain't. And I was like, what? Like, we grew up, this is our foundation. We played Bible trivia. We celebrated the Sabbath. We did, y'all don't remember this? And I'm like, oh my God, was they even born? Right. So it really was a get to know yourself, know your roots, know where you came from. So we had this whole little blurb, a sibling retreat, so to speak.
Whoa,
yeah, it really was.
That.
Yeah, it was amazing. So everyone talked about their spiritual journey. But yeah, so we literally had a sibling retreat of what is your journey? What's your spiritual journey? So everyone, it was beautiful. It really was.
What a way for you to connect as a family.
Yeah.
Right? And just celebrate each of you exactly as you are.
Period.
Tell me about some, any experiences you've had in your life that you would consider really foundational to the person that you are today.
I went to this training, a leadership training, specifically for Black women. I went there and I'm just like, okay, it was, paid my little fee. My supervisor at Unity Care encouraged me to go. And it was on the weekend. I'm like, girl, I want my weekends.
Right.
But I went and it was a 2-day training, Saturday and Sunday. or was it Friday? Whatever, it was the weekend. So
Well, you were taking your free time. It was a whole weekend.
Yeah.
You were stretching yourself, putting yourself in a situation you'd never been in before.
Yeah.
So it was a huge deal to
Yes,
go do this.
huge. And I'm going in, I don't know what to expect. And I'm going in and everyone's just like, oh, sis, this. And I'm like, well, I ain't your sister. You know, like, we didn't grow up together. I didn't grow up saying that, right? Like it was anything, ma'am, yes, ma'am, to elders, but sister, that unless we're related,
right.
Yeah. So, by lunchtime, I'm like, oh, sis.
You changed your tune.
I changed my tune.
That's so funny.
Because I started getting comfortable and they started calling on, like when you get into the little small groups, and I'm just like, I'm not going to say nothing.
Right.
I'm really an introvert. People will like, no, you're not. Like, no, I am. I'm really an introvert. So I'm just like quiet. And then when we do the breakouts and everyone has to speak, like you're not getting passed up. I'm just like, oh my gosh, my heart is beating. And I'm like, I don't want to sound stupid.
I don't know anybody. I'm out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. By the end of that day, I left with like two additional phone numbers. And I'm just like, oh, look at me.
Yes.
And then the next day I went in there like so proud of myself. Like I'm really in here. Like I'm really invested in myself.
Wow.
Right? Like as a professional Black woman, I'm invested in myself. And I am
love that.
Right? And I'm that one that's like, yeah, let me throw a curveball to y'all. Like how do you identify? And I'm like, I'm a Black Jewish woman. You Jewish? Like where, sis? Like, I'm just like, yeah, I grew up like that. It's just me. And then they had me coming up on a podium and speaking and giving additional resources. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I found myself professionally.
Whoa.
That was like
deep.
That was the biggest thing for me.
That is so incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love that. Tell me about some of the things that have become passion, subjects for you and the work you've done.
I go hard in the paint for survivors of sex trafficking, or what formerly it was called commercially sex trafficking children. So I worked at a lot of the nonprofit organizations here, Unity Care and Corbett Group Homes, no longer in business, but they were probably one of my additional stepping stones for CSEC.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yay. I love it. I love learning all of this about you. This is so exciting. Okay. Tell me, we're getting to our easier questions.
Okay.
Now. So tell me about Bane.
Oh, Bane. Bane is named after my husband's favorite Batman character. Dark Knight, he's like, Bane is awesome, and it has to start with a B. And we was thinking of all these other names, and I was like, Bane? He was like, oh, perfect. He still didn't, Bane still as a puppy, he didn't answer that. So he was puppy.
So Bane's a dog.
Bane's a dog.
Just to be clear.
He's a pit bull. Yeah. And he's brindle with the white markings.
So cute.
Oh, he's adorbs. So he's a cuddle monster, and he just wants attention. And I swear I'm like, who were you in your previous life?
Oh, right.
Because he watches TV, he'll hold a conversation with you, right? It's not just like, regular dog talk. Like, no, he's telling you something.
Yeah. And
you need to listen.
Yeah.
Right? So, so Bane's our baby.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you. Okay.